Johnny Carson welcomed more than 25,000 guests during his run. Most episodes were smooth and well-managed. But then came those times when things spiraled out of control. Animals breaking free and peeing on him, celebrities pushing boundaries that were off-limits, and Johnny losing his grip right on air. Here are the 10 wildest incidents from Johnny Carson's era. Ed Ames' Tomahawk Mishap. Back in 1965, Ed Ames was promoting his character Mingo from the NBC show Daniel Boone. He decided to show off Native American tomahawk skills. They set up a full-sized wooden cowboy outline as the mark. Ames positioned himself 15 feet back, described how indigenous people honed this ability, clutched the handle, drew it back, and launched it. The tomahawk twirled through the space and lodged with a thud right in the wooden target's groin area. "I had no idea you were Jewish." The crowd exploded, but Johnny fell apart entirely, tears pouring down, struggling to breathe, speechless for almost 3 solid minutes on broadcast TV. The lens stayed fixed on him. You saw him attempt to pull it together, glance at the tomahawk in that spot, and burst out again. Ed Ames simply stood smiling. Johnny actually stepped away from his table to regain composure off stage. The footage turned into one of the most rewatched segments in Tonight Show lore. They replayed it in Carson's last hosting week in May 1992, 27 years on, and it still slayed. Don Rickles' cigarette box surprise attack in 1973. Don Rickles filled in as host while Carson was away. In one session, Rickles accidentally tipped over and shattered Johnny's prized wooden cigarette holder. Rickles realized Johnny would be livid. "Going to know. This isn't your territory. You mad city. You're not getting the territory, you foolish guy. You're not getting the territory. No Carson cigarette holder. Oh, I smashed his holder. I smashed Carson's cigarette holder." The following evening, Carson displayed the broken holder on camera, lifting it for the viewers, then stared straight into the camera and vowed payback on Rickles. The crowd chuckled, but Johnny was serious. Then he bided his time. Weeks went by, months. Rickles likely figured Johnny had let it go, but he hadn't. What in the world happened to this? You know how long this cigarette holder has been on his table? You carried that from New York City. I carried this from New York. What on earth? It occurred last night. Who? Don Rickles. I missed the program. Don did it last night. He's recording across the way. Someone shattered my cigarette holder. Come over. Come over. I just began the program. I lifted my holder from my table that I've owned for 9 years. My holder is shattered. They informed me you shattered it on the program last night. Well, I truly... You can't, Rickles stuttered. Sorry, taken by surprise. Carson fired back. I don't care about your bit. You shattered my cigarette holder. They bantered for a few minutes. The unplanned inter-show raid became a timeless hit. It highlighted Johnny's dedication to a gag and the true bond between him and Rickles. Bette Midler brings Johnny to tears. May 1992, Johnny's penultimate Tonight Show broadcast. Bette Midler joined Robin Williams for what was meant to be a lively send-off. They bantered for a bit, Robin with mimics, Bette sharing anecdotes. Then Bette changed the vibe. She turned earnest, gazed at Johnny, and declared she had a unique song for him. The orchestra began One for My Baby and One More for the Road, a farewell tune about final drinks and separations. She sang it straight to Johnny, not the crowd, to him, holding his gaze. Road. The room fell quiet. 300 folks barely breathing. Carson's eyes gradually welled up. A guy who'd kept his cool for 30 years on screen, who rarely displayed feelings before 15 million people. He didn't try to conceal it, didn't ruin the instant with humor, didn't sidestep, just remained seated and absorbed it, allowed the rawness to linger on air. When she wrapped up, there was utter quiet. Then Johnny rose, kissed her hand, and murmured with a breaking voice, "I can't beat that." He struggled to say it. After 30 years as TV's most composed figure, Bette Midler uncovered the single element that could pierce his armor. A straightforward melody delivered with sincere affection at precisely the perfect time. The Wild Monkey episode. In the late 70s, an animal expert presented a monkey alongside other creatures on The Tonight Show. Rehearsals were smooth. The monkey perched quietly on her arm, but live TV with bright lights and a noisy crowd alters it all. As soon as they aired live, the monkey leaped right onto his head and peed instantly. Applause. Was he drooling? Was that drool? The audience inhaled sharply together, then shifted to uneasy chuckles. Johnny attempted to hold steady, but his whole frame stiffened. Crew rushed with cloths from all sides. The animal expert seized the monkey and yanked him off, saying, "Sorry." Johnny headed directly to his changing room shower and took 15 minutes rinsing the animal's pee from his hair. He returned in fresh attire with his hair impeccably styled and carried on as if unaffected. No creatures were permitted on stage following this event, which disappointed many viewers as animal segments were distinctive from typical human interviews. But Carson was indifferent and banned them forever. Don Rickles teases Frank Sinatra. Frank Sinatra guested on The Tonight Show in 1976. The iconic singer with a famous temper that all recognized. He didn't handle jests lightly, and there might be serious fallout for offending him. Next to Sinatra sat Don Rickles, and Rickles did his usual thing. He dove into a bold takedown, labeling Sinatra overhyped, ridiculing his celebrity status, handling him like any mark. Carson's expression revealed real anxiety throughout. You could spot Johnny's jaw clench. He realized this might turn sour quickly on broadcast TV. The studio crowd laughed, but with underlying strain. Then Rickles clutched Sinatra's knee and said, "Frank, trust me, I'm just joking. You know I adore you. Can I hitch a lift home?" Sinatra erupted in authentic amusement. "Hey, Frank, great to see you. I was just loitering in the corridor, and I said, Frank Sinatra is here and I've never encountered him, and I get the opportunity. You'll pardon us, right?" "Absolutely, absolutely. Marco Manganzo was injured. Marco Mangalanzo Fambino Bombato, 2 shots in the skull Thursday. Guido sends regards. He hasn't gotten to chat with you. And from Jersey City, your pal Bubani Umbata. He ignited his vehicle. With your record playing, and now he's a road. He obviously relished being handled like an ordinary person rather than a delicate legend everyone must revere. The instant grew famous because hardly anyone risked addressing Sinatra like that on nationwide TV. And Johnny permitted it to unfold rather than intervening to ease tensions. That demanded courage. One bad response from Sinatra, and it would have turned into a fiasco instead of an epic highlight. The Burmese python breaks loose. Alice Cooper arrived with his big pet Burmese python in 1977. As he serenely detailed info on the snake's environment and food, the python grew restless. Abruptly, it slid from the table toward Johnny. Carson reflexively sprang from his seat and retreated swiftly. His expression displayed raw terror. "This is a fine one here. See? Most folks assume snakes are slippery. They're not. No, they're not. They're quite tidy. This is I'm completely shocked he's acting this way. It's a safe snake, right?" "It is. Yeah, absolutely. Isn't it amusing to inquire? I should have posed that query before grabbing this. This is one of the best, purest. I mean, check this out. They're not slippery. They're arid. They're pure. But man, can you sense the strength? Yeah. He's coiled himself around me on the side. He's latched himself. Don't allow him to reach anywhere else there. He's on the mic. He's on the microphone. He latched onto the mic cord and won't release. Okay, hear me. Hey, large guy. Hey, darling. What's up? Yeah, he truly is hooked beneath the mic. He has entwined his body, his tail. I wish you could view that. Can you swing a camera here? Yeah, he's entwined his tail. He's simply anxious. That's a mic. There we go. There we go. Yeah, we're free now. No, hold on. We're not free. You wouldn't imagine the power of this, creature. What type of snake is this? This is a boa. This is a boa. This is really not. He really did a double take. He gets snake a double snake take. This was simply a man who wanted no massive snake close. The crowd adored it. They howled. Alice assured him no danger and kept holding it. He soon reverted to his poised style, fixed his tie, and quipped, "Someone better inspect my trousers." The venue erupted. The occurrence became a prime illustration of the authentic Johnny emerging from his polished presenter facade. No level of expert preparation equips you for a python coming your way. Survival instinct activated, and Johnny opted for retreat right away. George Carlin's broadcast standards poke. In 1983, George Carlin presented what appeared as an innocent collection of daily insights, merely relaxed humor on ordinary existence. Embedded in the act was a sly dig at television restrictions and broadcaster foolishness, featuring the phrase, "If a truly dim individual turns senile, how do you tell?" The phrasing navigated deftly around his notorious 7 forbidden words bit without breaking clear airing guidelines. Johnny's response revealed all. A perceptive grin and a fast glance at the lens. He grasped precisely what Carlin was up to and decided to allow it. NBC bosses got grievances later questioning how the routine aired. Some network folks were irritated. Carson proceeded to back Carlin behind the scenes, contended that if censors missed it in advance, then Carlin deserved to pull it off. That was Johnny's principle. If you were clever and skilled enough to slip something by the monitors, you earned the win. Sammy Davis Jr.'s quick switch mimics. In the early 70s, a relaxed chat on fellow performers abruptly evolved into an unplanned display. Sammy Davis Jr. burst into a lightning-quick string of mimics. Frank Sinatra, Jerry Lewis, Jimmy Stewart, Dean Martin. In less than a minute, he flipped through several celebrities, capturing voices and gestures flawlessly, appearing to morph into each. Johnny gripped his abdomen from true hilarity, not courteous host chuckles. Authentic bent-over can't inhale hilarity. The routine wasn't scheduled as an official part. It developed organically from the talk, making it even more vibrant and unscripted. You witnessed raw skill unfolding live with no plan and no backup. Carson later stated Sammy was the ultimate performer he'd witnessed. This mimic barrage became the prime proof of why. It demonstrated Sammy could change tones, pace, and bodily vigor quicker than anyone on TV, converting the stage into his private arena and rendering Johnny utterly mute. Madonna's bold guest spot. In the late 80s, Madonna was at the height of her daring era, challenging limits wherever she appeared. When she showed up on The Tonight Show, she emerged in a snug black bodice, lace mitts, and a vibe. Rather than sitting properly in the visitor seat like all guests over 30 years of Tonight Show past, she promptly scaled and sat atop Johnny's table, legs crossed, reclined, making him lean back in his seat to keep distance. She kicked off the chat with a deeply implying remark about selecting Johnny for her debut because she heard he was kind. The crowd instantly began cheering and yelling. Then she escalated, flirted boldly with him on air, stretched over and fiddled with his cue sheets, inquired directly if he wore boxers or briefs. Johnny appeared truly rattled in a manner audiences hadn't witnessed. She grabbed his coffee cup, languidly licked her digit, wrapped the mug's edge, and murmured "too warm" while locking eyes with him. The studio crowd went wild. Johnny clearly flushed under his makeup. He kept looking urgently to the production booth with a face that plainly said, "Help me out here." When he attempted to guide the discussion professionally by questioning her future concerts, Madonna ignored it entirely, flicked her hand away. "Let's discuss your dream instead," turned the whole part even more charged. The lines in the booth rang during the live recording, censors phoning to question what was occurring on their channel. "Can we halt this?" Johnny went to ads as fast as possible. Off-air, he mopped his brow and quipped to the team they should schedule a sister for the next day's episode to offset what occurred. The next day numbers arrived and surged hugely. NBC heads wanted Madonna returned pronto for another spot. Johnny outright declined. He informed producers once was iconic TV, twice would be ruinous. He knew some instants only succeed once. Madonna had nudged him farther from his ease than nearly any visitor in 30 years achieved, and that sufficed. Arnold Schwarzenegger's Deutsch joke. Arnold Schwarzenegger was a top action hero by then and a Tonight Show staple. During one visit, Johnny posed the initial query. Arnold replied with a lengthy, sincere response, fully in German. Johnny and the crowd obviously comprehended nothing. Carson seemed truly puzzled. He looked to the booth with a face that said, "What's going on? Do I end this?" Instead of halting, he chose. He joined in, began nodding gravely, sometimes answered with invented German-like nonsense. The crowd grasped it and began chuckling at this ridiculous exchange no one got. After several minutes, Arnold dropped the act, changed to English, confessed he'd always desired to observe how Johnny would manage that scenario. The gag succeeded flawlessly because Carson gave up reins and participated in the trick rather than resisting. He converted a possible mess into one of the program's top funny instants simply by agreeing to appear silly. What elevated the moment was how minor it seemed described. No grand preparation, no scriptwriters supplying Johnny dialogue, just an odd reply in the incorrect tongue, and a host choosing to embrace the disorder. The cameras switched to Ed McMahon's stifling laughs. Doc Severinsen dropped his horn and shook his head. Staff offside were hunched over. All in that venue knew they were seeing unadulterated live TV, the sort you can't script and can't duplicate fully. Arnold later noted this was when he realized Johnny viewed him as beyond a muscle man turned performer. Most presenters would have freaked. They'd have switched to breaks or barked at him for deviating. Carson did the reverse. He safeguarded the gag. He let Arnold be the smart one and assumed the baffled straight role. That needed true assurance. It also needed faith that the viewers would follow even when he acted confused. The part became one of those videos comedians analyzed. It taught them how to endure when a visitor veers or a laugh turns sharp. Don't stiffen. Don't grip the cue sheets on the table. Hear, respond. Utter something absurd if necessary. Johnny made gibberish sounds into zingers just by dedicating to them. His phony German was awful, but he presented it with the identical beat and delivery as any opening quip. For home audiences, the takeaway was straightforward. If Johnny laughed, it was okay to laugh too. The crowd didn't require translations. They just needed to witness that known face reclining in his seat, dabbing his eyes, and yielding to the absurdity. In a time pre-viral videos, folks still discuss that spot the following day at jobs and in school corridors. They attempted to copy Carson's silly words. They retold the tale of the evening Arnold spoke German endlessly, and Johnny somehow made not grasping him the most amusing segment. Clips like this show why The Tonight Show dominated for over 3 full decades. Because Carson understood when to hold command and when to allow mayhem prevail. When to guard his poise and when to seem absurd, when to be cautious, and when to permit guests to test limits. Most presenters would have halted half these parts. Johnny allowed them to proceed and grew legendary for it. Is there a particular instant you believe was the wildest? And what other Johnny Carson instant deserved this lineup? Share your choices in the comments section. And if you crave more tales on the craziest instants in late-night TV past, ensure you hit subscribe on the channel. These instants shaped a generation, and someone must preserve them.